Groundhog Day doesn't necessarily mean bad. Groundhog Day is actually a disconnection. Welcome to the Philosophy Podcast. This space is where ambitious mothers, conscious leaders, and soul-led entrepreneurs come to rewire their nervous system, channel their intuitive insight, and create their own unique fairy tale. I'm your host, Fiona Findlay, and here we get to dive deep into the art of personal healing and leadership. Welcome to the Philosophy Podcast. This space is about creating a life where it gives you the freedom and soul-led entrepreneurs come to Groundhog Day and motherhood. Who doesn't feel it? I haven't met one mother that says she doesn't have. Welcome to the Philosophy Podcast. It's an epidemic. This space is where ambitious mothers, conscious leaders, and soul-led entrepreneurs that you either to talk to your mummy friends about, or you channel their intuitive insight and create a silent fairy tale. I'm your host, Fiona Findlay, and here we get to dive deep into the art of bring your attention to it, and three, hopefully isn't just about ticking pointers on how you it's about creating a life where it gives you the freedom to do what truly matters. Motherhood of entrepreneurial, career-driven, ambitious women. So, what is Groundhog Day? Well, the way I described it is a day of sucking my soul. I'm a Sagittarius and I am a human design generator, if that means anything to you. So I like variety, I like spontaneity, and being a mother does not give you room to do that. I mean, you can, but what I found is that my child really rebels against it. So having structure not only serves him, it then serves me for my peace and harmony. So even before motherhood, actually, come to think of it, I didn't like Groundhog Day. I would get it. Anything with serious structure and rigidity would just suck my soul. So this Groundhog Day that we experience as mothers is an evil necessary sometimes because it gives us structure, but it also alleviates that decision fatigue. But what it can do is it could make you feel like you're actually having a transactional relationship to your children, to your life, and feeling like decades have just flown by and you weren't even really conscious for it, partaking in it, but not really there, like lights are on, no one's home sort of thing. So what is Groundhog Day for you? I want you to think about, are there aspects to your structure, your schedule, your routine that you're not aware of, that you resent, that you get bored with? Because these are very symptomatic for a level of non-presence. So I'm really good sometimes at shutting it off and just getting on with it. But then I realize 4 weeks has flown by and I've done nothing that I thought I was going to do. And it's also a time slipping by scared factor. All the mums I talk to, they experience it at different stages, at different levels. And the thing is, Groundhog Day doesn't necessarily mean bad. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you need a complete overhaul of your life. It just means that you need to, one, recognize it for what it is, and two, just do the little micro shifts. So what is Groundhog Day? Well, essentially, it's a disconnect from your world. It's a disconnect from why you're doing what you do with your values. Groundhog Day for mothers is always going to look different from one household to another. So here I'm talking about burnout, I'm talking about self-betrayal, and I'm talking about boredom. And the fact that our little beings change so quickly in comparison to us that it's really hard to get a handle on why you do what you do. Like if you look at your day, a weekday, you get up, you get the kids fed, you get them clothed, you get them packed, you take them to school, you do your work, you pick them up, you bring them home, or you take them to extracurricular activities. You feed them, you clean them, you put them to bed, and ding, it starts again. you're back on the treadmill of feeding, cleaning, schooling, repeating. The thing that I actually had a little aha moment about was it's not about changing your schedule. It's not excavating all the routines and schedules that you've got. It's about reconnecting with your world. And it's because Groundhog Day is actually a disconnection. It's a disconnect from your values. It's a disconnect from your purpose and your why. So as a mum, what are you trying to achieve? You're wanting to raise healthy, happy humans, right? So how do you do that? And this looks different to everybody, and it's totally okay. So whatever it is that is of importance to you, bring that to your attention, because that is your value set. So when I look at Groundhog Day, I see it as a nervous system burnout symptom, and I also see it as a self-betrayal to your value system. So let's look at this just a little bit deeper, and I promise I will give you a little bit of a micro shift opportunity towards the end. Okay, so burnout. Let's talk about burnout. Burnout is real. It is something that we all experience on a day-to-day basis at some point. And the thing that you're contending with is hormones. You're contending with societal pressures of being the bloody Martha Stewart of the motherhood world, that you need to do it all and be it all and have a smile on your face. To be present with your child is a whole nother level, right? So you've got all the business aspects of your world that you need to do, and then you have to be present and attentive and connect with your child. And it's really hard sometimes, especially when you're feeling burnt out. Looking at Groundhog Day and that burnout, it's actually a nervous system thing. So if you look at your nervous system as a security system for your body, all it's doing is just keeping you alive and keeping your human existence intact so you can have a human experience. That's all it's doing. It doesn't know the difference between a crying child and a tiger. It just knows it's overwhelmed and it needs to either shut down or run. What's it going to do? So your nervous system, give it gratitude. You want to nurture it. Don't force it. I know there's lots of, I even talk about nervous system regulation, but that part of the regulation process is just giving gratitude and thanks to it and accepting it for where it is, not trying to force it anywhere, because you're just going to add to that burnout load. That burnout load is actually called an allostatic load. That pressure is already there. It's constant. And then if you're going to try and regulate your nervous system by pushing it into a calm state, no, it's not going to happen. It's just another thing on the plate for it to do. So, nervous system. It's really important for you to understand, if this is your jam, to understand what type of state you're in, why you get into that state, and how you can find those glimmers to get out of your state. Disclaimer on all the things that I do: take what you need and leave what you don't. This is my filter. This is the philosophy podcast, meaning it's purely my filter and my experience. And if this resonates with you and it feels comfortable to do this, take it, go with it, put your own flavor to it, mix it up. And if it doesn't, leave it. And it is absolutely okay. Just because you don't want to know about the nervous system doesn't mean you can't do this. There's other ways to tap into how you can get that reconnect with your world. So, nervous system. Look at it. Is it something for you? It's something that I really resonate with personally, and I look at the polyvagal theory system done by Stephen Porges on this. The next one is around your self-betrayal. And I say this with a bit of a giggle because people sort of irk around betrayal. But what are you betraying? When they talk about self-betrayal, they're just talking about your values, really. What's important to you? What is it that matters to you? For example, I really like to feed my child well for breakfast, just to get him through the day so he's not trying to get chips and snacks when I get him off the bus or I pick him up from school. Because I think it also is good for him to learn with a satiated diet, and cereal doesn't cut it. Now, it might work for you, it may not, I don't know. And I'm not here to judge diet by any means. I am not getting into that food war conversation. I'm here to say for us, a scrambled egg is perfect breakfast most days if I have the bandwidth and the ingredients. That's another allostatic load pressure. Cooking a good breakfast for me feels of service, and health and well-being is very important to me. And to do that, it's around nutrition, it's around movement, and how I balance that on a day-to-day basis really just depends, right? So when I look at Groundhog Day, I go, okay, what part am I struggling with? What part am I feeling bored with? And it could just be the breakfast thing. I've been letting him eat Wheat Bix bites for the past few days, and that was actually part of it. And the thing is, that means it's going against my values of health and well-being and being of service. So for me to ensure he gets a cooked scrambled eggs or whatever the, nutritional food I want to give him, that is something that fuels my value, that then reconnects me to my schedule and my routine, that alleviates my Groundhog Day. So that Groundhog Day can also come in when it comes to getting him ready for school. So when I look at getting ready for school, I don't want to be a nagger. I really don't like repeating myself. Repeating myself is something that does not fuel me in a positive way. What I had to do is I had to turn our mornings into a game and something that he felt was to him and he was engaged with, and that I didn't have to literally micromanage every step of the process. And for example, it was just doing a checklist because he likes checklists. That was our morning. And so when it comes to that Groundhog Day feeling, then it starts to get alleviated again. So I want you to look at your values. Values are just, it's what counts. It's what makes you feel it, matters in life. The other thing that I also realized when I looked at Groundhog Day is I'm rushing out the door to go to work. I go to work to earn money because my business is my address. I don't care what I do as long as I'm bringing in money for my business, which is my family. But why? Because if I earn a lot of money and I'm sending my kid to the prestigious school, it just feels like I'm trying to keep up with the pack. I'm doing holidays that do not resonate with me. I'm not a camper. I am putting him into extracurricular activities just to maintain a friendship that I thought, be part of the group. And he doesn't even enjoy it. I was doing my Groundhog Day, my routine, so I could go to work to earn the money so I could keep up with the pack. What if I changed how I related to other people and my importance and my worth? Does that mean I can have an easier morning? Does that mean I'm not rushing out to work every day? And that is okay. So then it started to shift on my purpose, on how I show up to the world. So this is getting pretty deep with Groundhog Day. I get it. But for me, liberation, authenticity, and connection is so important, and values of mine, that my day has to feel those aspects, I found. Otherwise, I feel unfulfilled, and that unfulfillment feeling is just that my values aren't being met. They aren't being loved. They aren't being fed. So have a look at your values. I like to get a list of values. I like to look at all the words and I circle them. And then I might have a short list for these things. And then I really contemplate and bring my attention to each of those. And I get 3 to 5. 5 I get a little bit overwhelmed with because there's a lot going on. So I do like to keep it to 3. Plus there's also a spiritual aspect to the power of 3. There's this sense of, it's like when you read your values, and these things change. When you experience life, they're going to change. When you do your personal development and grow, they will change. And this is okay. And this is why people's values are going to be different. And it is totally okay that you may not think scrambled eggs is viable for your family. I get it. It's just tap into you, find out what's important to you, and then structure your day around that's going to serve those values, because it's going to feel less and less like Groundhog Day, honoring during the day. So you're going to be of service. You're going to show up and serve and feel like you're on purpose, like you're living your purpose because you're serving your values. This just means that when you do get stuck in a rut again, because it's going to happen, it just means that your values have shifted and that you're connecting with your life a little bit differently, and you can reconnect it. It's easy to do. So if you have 5 minutes in the morning, which I highly suggest every mother needs 5 minutes in the morning without being asked, what's for breakfast, what's for dinner, can I play the Wii, you need 5 minutes of peace. And in that 5 minutes, start journaling. You can freehand it. You can get journal prompts. I've got a future self journal you can grab. It's about getting those prompts and seeing what it is your intention is for the day. Is that intention going to serve your values? And how are you going to do it? The thing when you start to incorporate this, and if you want to create a little bit of change, you've got to start small, because our nervous system does not like big change. It gets very scared of change. It's an unknown, and our brain is a predictor, and it will tell you not to do the thing. So if you're wanting to do something different and you want a little bit of a shift, start small. Smaller, the more attainable, the better, and build up that change muscle. So with your future self journal, you start to do that. You start to bring in an intention. You start to be able to foresee the opportunities where you can start to act on that intention, feed those values. And then at night, just 5 minutes. It's about giving gratitude, just rehashing through your day. Oh, yep, authenticity is really important to me. How have I felt safe to be authentic? How did I create that opportunity of connection to be authentic? And that then goes, oh, it's like a pacifier to your soul. It's like a little warm blankie, and it's like, I've done everything that's important to me. Another value of mine is being with purpose and on purpose. And that's part of that authenticity. To be a mother and to be of service fuels that. And it's not to put conditions on it, it's to understand it and ground that authenticity of purpose. So when you're feeling like it's Groundhog Day, it just means that things have shifted and changed, and you just need to reconnect the dots a little bit, and knowing how to understand your body is so important, and the cues. So if it's not a nervous system regulation thing that floats your boat, try something else. Spirituality is such a beautiful way to do it as well. It grounds you, or it could be movement, it could be whatever it is. But nurturing your body through this, and to be able to understand that this Groundhog Day feeling, this transactional relationship that you feel that you have with your kids, your partner in your life, without that sense of fulfillment, is just symptomatic. And that's symptomatic of a disconnect between what really gets you going and fuels your spark and what doesn't. It's just a shift. That's all it is. That's all I'm trying to say. It's a shift. Groundhog Day, usually, remember, it means that there's a nervous system overwhelm, so a potential burnout scenario, which is also related to a disconnect and that you're not serving your values. What are your values? How are you feeding them? How are you being of service to them? We are here to serve and co-create and to impact the world with a ripple effect, how are you doing that? How are you feeling like you're contributing your existence positively to the world? This is something that, even though we're mothers and we're career ambitious women, whether you're leading a team, whether you're wanting to get into entrepreneurship, and you may not be a mother of a child, you might be a mother of a dog, whatever. Being of service and showing up with genuine authenticity is something that you can't buy, you can't train yourself to do. It's like an unraveling that you get to practice. We carry so many roles in life, whether you're a manager, a business owner, a wife, a daughter, a mother, a dog mum. These are all just roles, and deep down we're here to serve. We're here to bring a sense of purpose to our existence. And yes, those roles can help fulfill it, but they're just the catalyst. They're just the conduit, How are you going to identify your Groundhog Day? What is it symptomatic of? And how are you going to reconnect yourself to your service and your purpose? And on that note, stay calm, curious, and connected. Have a great day.